Are you Matthew Aldridge?
I'm the attorney of fact for Matthew Aldridge.
You were what?
The attorney of fact.
Attorney what?
Of fact.
Attorney of fact. And what does that mean?
You know, right. His authorization to do legal representation.
Are you a licensed attorney?
No, I'm simply an attorney of fact.
Okay. And does that mean you have a power of attorney? What is your name? What is your name?
Today's court session is nothing short of a spectacle. The man at the podium is listed as Matthew Aldridge in the records, but he's refusing to acknowledge that name. Instead, he's calling himself the Attorney of Fact, a term that has no legal basis whatsoever. This is a textbook move from sovereign citizens who try to argue that the court has no authority over them. But here's the reality. Courts have jurisdiction over anyone within their territory. No loopholes, no exceptions. And the judge? He's not playing along. He shuts down the argument so effectively that the defendant has nowhere left to turn. Let's break it all down and see exactly how this legal showdown unfolded.
I don't have.
You don't have a name? Pardon?
I'm the attorney of fact for the respondent mayor.
Well, let me explain to you. Only an attorney at law can stand in court and represent a criminal defendant. And to do so otherwise violates the criminal law statutes of the state of Tennessee and could land someone who attempts to represent themselves as an attorney at law in serious trouble. I understand what you're saying. I understand you're saying an attorney in fact. And what I want you to understand is that if you have a power of attorney, then you need to demonstrate that power of attorney. Do you have a legal document called a power of attorney?
I do not at this time.
Okay. Then you don't have any authority to act on behalf of Matthew Aldridge in this court. You have no legal authority, nor do you have any authority through a legal document to represent or to act on behalf of Matthew Aldridge.
Why don't the court just let me file this document?
Show it to the bailiff and he'll show it to me. Apparently there's a copy here.
And just when you think it couldn't get any wilder, this guy tries to back up his attorney of fact claim by handing the judge a piece of paper. Now, you didn't see it on screen because honestly, it wasn't the most exciting moment, but let me fill you in. The paper quoted some completely made-up law that supposedly gave him the right to represent Matthew Aldridge. For anyone wondering, real attorneys need an actual law license and must follow strict legal procedures, not just print out a random document with imaginary laws. This is classic sovereign citizen nonsense. They argue they're exempt from the legal system and somehow expect courts to go along with it. Spoiler alert, they don't. Courts run on real, established laws, not fantasy rules. And the judge? He's having none of it. At this point, I have to ask, are these bizarre sovereign citizen cases becoming more common, or am I just seeing an unusual number of them? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
All right. Well, I find that Matthew Neil Aldridge has failed to appear personally in this court for the plea day on his case, which is set for trial tomorrow. And as a result, you have no standing, sir, under what I know what you're trying to do is to try to use the sovereign citizen approach to this situation. And I'm simply telling you that you do not have the right to represent Matthew Neil Aldridge. If you are, in fact, Matthew Neil Aldridge, then you need to say so and stop this nonsense, because what you're attempting to do has no legal effect. You cannot challenge the criminal law or the jurisdiction of this court by simply filing some legal mumbo jumbo having to do with civil litigation. That has civil litigation in it. It is not a criminal case that you have cited. So it has no effect on this court regarding the criminal statutes of this court. This court is empowered under the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, and by the duly elected citizens of Cheatham County to empower and enforce the laws of the state of Tennessee. And that is what I'm going to do regarding Matthew Lynn Aldridge. Mr. Aldridge is set for today to appear in court personally on what we call our last plea day before his trial date tomorrow.
Is that an Article 3 trial?
To what?
Would that be a multiple pretrial, a trial by jury with jury?
It would be a trial by jury, certainly it would be. But I don't know who you are. And I don't think you have any authority if you are not Matthew Lynn Aldridge to appear before this court. And you're wasting valuable time that all of these other citizens who are here today. So when I'm talking, you stop talking. No, you will when I'm finished talking. You are wasting the court's time by doing this, and I'm just simply instructing you that if you are in fact Matthew Lynn Aldridge, then this is your last day to settle your case. The trial date is set for tomorrow, and unfortunately it will not go forward because of the fact that I have a conflict and I have to be in Stewart County on a civil matter. So we're going to assign a new trial date for Matthew Lynn Aldridge. But to Matthew Aldridge and the individual standing before me whose name must not be altered.
See this? Judge is handling the situation like a total pro, calm, collected, and completely unshaken by the nonsense unfolding before him. The guy barely had a chance to push his attorney of fact claim before the judge tore it apart piece by piece. It's clear he's dealt with this kind of thing before, especially when the guy started rattling off his imaginary laws. But here's the best part. At one point, the judge actually tells him he's not even allowed to say his own name. That moment? Priceless. Judges usually keep a straight face, but you could tell he wasn't about to entertain this circus for even a second. In the end, this whole exchange just proves one thing. Sovereign citizen tactics don't work. Not now, not ever.
Then we will set a July 15th trial date for Mr. Aldridge. Whatever this document is that you have filed is in fact invalid because it does not cite any valid criminal statute, and therefore I'm denying whatever that might be in the way of a motion. The trial date will be July 15th. The last day for Mr. Aldridge to enter a plea or go to trial will be July the 8th. July the 8th. Now, we're going to give you a card. If you are in fact Matthew Aldridge and you're just playing games with the court regarding this nonsense that you filed, then you may get this card and you may go on about your business. If you are not Matthew Aldridge, then I would suggest to you relay to Mr. Aldridge that he must appear on July the 8th, or a bond revocation will take place, and his case will be will take place with him in jail, incarcerated on the 15th. That's the judgment of the court. You need to take your piece of paper and go on about.
May sovereign citizens never fail to bring the absurd. These folks believe they can just opt out of the legal system by claiming they don't recognize the government's authority. They throw around terms like common law or the UCC, completely misunderstanding how any of it actually works. Let's be clear. Courts follow federal, state, and local laws that have been in place for centuries, backed by the Constitution. There's no magical loophole that lets you declare yourself exempt. Yet sovereign citizens keep showing up in court, wasting time with bizarre legal arguments that accomplish nothing, except maybe landing them a criminal record. Legally speaking, their entire defense collapses when it comes to jurisdiction. Courts have authority over everyone within their territory, period. No amount of legal mumbo-jumbo changes that. These tactics might sound clever in certain online circles, but judges have heard it all before, and they're not impressed. And for anyone thinking this is a smart way to dodge taxes or get out of a speeding ticket, think again. Not only does it fail, but it can also lead to even harsher penalties for wasting the court's time. I have to ask, do these people actually believe they're outsmarting the system? Or is this just some strange form of rebellion? Either way, it's ridiculous. And honestly, kind of sad. They're not fighting the system. They're just making fools of themselves. That's it for today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on sovereign citizens in the comments. Thanks for watching, and take care.